Hello, this story is called Fishing. Ken loved to go fishing with his dad. They would find a place along the sea and sit down. Dad always brought a basket of food for them to eat while waiting for the fish to bite. One morning, Kevin's dad woke him up very early in the morning. It was still dark outside. "Come, son, it is time to go." Kevin jumped out of bed suddenly, wide awake. "Good morning, Dad! I can't wait!" While his dad gathered the fishing tackle, Kevin brushed his hair and put on his clothes, and his socks, and his shoes. He met his dad outside. Together they headed for the seashore. "See those stars up there?" Dad asked, pointing at the cluster of bright twinkling stars. "That is Orion. See his belt and his sword?" Kevin looked. He thought he saw it. He did see some beautiful stars. "Why are there so many stars, Dad?" he asked. "Are there as many fish in the sea as stars in the sky?" "Oh, no, Kevin, not nearly as many. The stars in the sky are more than the grains of the sand on all the beaches in the world." "Aren't they beautiful?" he asked. "When I was a boy, I lived in a small house in a little village up north. There were no lights there in the city. It was black as coal, and the stars were thick in the heavens. I would lie awake for hours gazing at them, wondering why they were all there." "There are lots of them, Dad. I hope there are a lot of fish for us to catch." Kevin smiled. They walked silently the rest of the way. Already they could hear the morning rush hour traffic off in the distance. Lights from their houses were turning on, one at a time, as people woke up. Dogs began to bark, and roosters crowed. By the time they reached the seashore, the sun was coming up over the horizon. Kevin stood and watched the sun rise. Finally, he had to cover his eyes, as it was so bright. He knew that soon it would be warm. He was glad he was at the beach. He could swim if it was too hot. Dad had handed Kevin his fishing rod. He had also brought an old blanket to sit on. Several fishing boats sailed by. Seagulls started flying about, some landing in the water, bobbing up and down on the small waves. Their heads went underwater now and then, searching for a breakfast fish. Kevin watched the pelican glide across the water and flap his wing up and down silently. Just then it dipped its beak into the water and brought it up filled with fish. The pelican flew off into the air. "I hope that pelican doesn't feel like eating us for breakfast," Kevin said jokingly. "Don't worry, son. He'd much rather eat some fish and perhaps some rats as well." Just then, Kevin's fishing rod began to jiggle. "I've got a fish, Dad! I've got a fish!" He was so excited, he pulled and started winding in his fish line. It's just a big one! It's a big one, Dad!" he cried out. Kevin lifted the lid of the basket and his father tossed the fish inside. After a few hours, there were a dozen fish in the basket. Kevin and his dad sat munching away on ripe sticky plums, some biscuits, and had some homemade fresh sandwiches, some cheese, and some grapes. "Well, son, I think we should get these fish home and into the fridge before they spoil," Dad said. "I can't wait to eat one for dinner tonight," Kevin said, his mouth drooling with anticipation. That night, Kevin's mum fried the fish.